Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Fire, boy, make a big noise playing in the street. Gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face. Big disgrace. Can get your head all over your place. Singing, rock you.
Good job, man.
Little man was born ready. The question I've got for you guys, are you ready for this upcoming week in the markets? We've got some interesting news stories. I'm going to be going into the S&P 500 as measured by the SPX, and I'm going to give you guys some thoughts on Bitcoin. A couple important things I've noticed in the charts I want to bring to you because it's going to shape the way that we trade this week and next week and where we're at right now in the overall move in this market. Guys, this is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for tuning in on Sunday with me before this important and potentially very choppy week. Are we going to have a surprise rally? Well, I'm going to give you guys my opinion on that. Thank you for hitting the like, say hi, throw a heart in the comment, and hit that subscribe to get market predictions. I'm not talking about the move after it happens. I'm giving you guys my best interpretation of what the charts are telling me will happen days, weeks, and months ahead. And we've been getting it on spot on this channel. Last week was a great week. I'm going to lay out for you guys some dynamics of what I'm watching for in the charts this week. But we're going to kick things off with some pretty interesting news on a prediction that I made over a month ago. You guys know that when I did a live event with the Stock Squad, the subject of Apple stock came up. And you know that I track Apple stock. I call it the Apple indicator. My basic idea behind watching it and keeping a close eye on it, one, it's part of my portfolio, but two, held that number one market cap spot for a very long time. And if the market doesn't want Apple, then my question is, what do they want? Because it's been a top-rated company. Now, Warren Buffett, who's been the largest holder of Apple stock, I believe at just under 7%. He reported earnings yesterday and he's dumping his bags. Now, that's a bit dramatic. He's been selling to quite a large tune. And I think that this is the selling that is just beginning a longer term move to cash out of Apple. Now, who could have known this? Who could have foreseen this? I gave it to you. I told you guys that the fact that Apple hadn't made a significant all-time high, but rather an ominous double top when the rest of big tech was really screaming higher and doing extremely well, it was my view that Wall Street was selling into the strength of the 2023 and the 2024 market. They were dialing down their positions on Apple. I told you that over a month ago based on everything I was seeing in the charts. And now we have a confirmation that one of the biggest value investors there is, I think perhaps the biggest value investor, is unloading his Apple bags. And that's just the beginning. It's one of the reasons why Apple stock is down. People were selling into strength. Warren Buffett was selling into strength. Now, I've told you that the line in the sand that we've got to watch on Apple is $165. We came down, we skirted it, we've moved back up. Apple is not ready to capitulate. And let me tell you why. Wall Street doesn't want it down in the gutter. They want to slowly unwind their position over a long period of time, hoping that you guys will buy it, hoping that you guys will be told the story that it's a high top performing company and that you had better pick up this wonderful generational opportunity to own Apple at a discount while they're selling it. So, I am not telling you guys to unload all of your Apple, but I did predict that Wall Street didn't buy this and push it higher, but rather was selling. And we got confirmation with Warren Buffett the other day. He sold 13% of his Apple stock and he gave a reason. Now, I want to just comment on this. This is so important for you guys to hear. So Tim Cook was at the Berkshire Hathaway event. So he was present so that there could be the appearance of support, mutual alignment of these titans of industry and finance. And the reason that Warren gave was the fear of the rising capital gains tax that could be initiated right around the corner. Now, that is a threat. That's another news story I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. Right now, capital gains, I believe, is around 21%, and there is talk of pushing it immediately to 39%, which would not be good for Wall Street because it would be giving them a reason to unload their bags. Now, I'm not saying that that isn't Warren's reason. I think it's broader than that. And I think it's one of the reasons, and it was the reason that Tim Cook and Warren Buffett agreed upon would be the messaging going forward. But personally, I believe that Apple is in some long-term trouble. I think they've gotten to a place of maturity. And it's not that the company's going under. It's not that they don't have great products. But the question is, do they have years and years of growth ahead of them? They're lagging on the AI front. There's an opportunity for them, but I don't know that they've hit the ball out of the park. And so I think they're going to continue to see turbulent waters as Wall Street attempts to de-risk and unwind some very large Apple positions. Those are my thoughts on Apple. Now, a little bit back to Warren Buffett, because he is an indicator all in and of himself, and he is still raising cash. So they're at $189 billion, and it wouldn't surprise me that they're going to be at $200 billion raised cash very soon. So why does Warren Buffett raise cash? Well, he believes that there is a dip coming and that the market's expensive. He has been doing this for decades and decades and decades. And so right now they're not buying. They're waiting. They're waiting for that downturn. When will that downturn possibly come? Well, I think that the Fed might cut in September. And when the Fed cuts, after we've had a rate hike cycle and an inverted yield curve, when the Fed goes to cut, typically the markets will pull back 20%. Now, this is going to drive us into looking at the S&P 500 because I've given very bold predictions about where we were at. I said that we would come down, and then I've made the prediction that we were going to push back up to 5,500. And I'm going to stick to that. But we have a test along the way to see whether or not we have confirmation of that move. And it's going to be very likely we're going to hit that test this week. And I've been telling people it's how the price action handles itself when it gets to 5,200. We want to see more momentum coming in at that point to push us through 5,200, make a new high. That begins to become the confirmation that we can go higher. I don't care if it gets a little choppy at 52 to 52.60. But ultimately, we need to see volume come in and we need to see a push through that. And that's what we're going to be watching for. Very likely get that test this week, maybe even as early as Monday. We shall see. All right, I'm going to take you into the charts because I want to show you something in regards to momentum and the overall market that I think you'll want to see. Before I do that, let me take a very quick station break for the Mumu Investment App. Guys, if you need better trade tools, if you need some of the indicators like I'm giving you, you can find them on the Mumu Investment App. But right now, you can also get some fractional shares for free. If you open and fund an account, you got to put in, I think, at least $100. With my link, you can get up to 10 fractional shares, as well as the fact that they're good tools if you're on the go, if you're mobile, and you can't be sitting at a desktop all day long. I think they're the right kind of tools for you. So click on the link in the top pinned comment and check it out. Plus, I host a community over there called the Stock Josh Fam, which is one of the largest communities on Mumu, and they're giving out great trades over there all throughout the week, as well as technical support. It's a fabulous community. I got to give a shout out to Ertwan and Miss Mary. All right, guys, let's get into the S&P 500. Okay, you know that I believe that the simplest technicals are the best technicals. I think that people that try to make the charts too complicated, they overthink it and they never get it right. So here is an overview of the S&P 500. Now, here's what we're looking at. Each of these candles is 2 months. So one candle represents 2 whole months of price action trading on the S&P 500. So here's what I want you guys to see. It's very, very simple. Down below is the stochastic RSI. You see a yellow dotted line running across the top. That's roughly the 100% mark. And the fact is that as far as momentum goes, it can't go any higher than 100%. 100% hits the wall, it's max momentum, and once it does that, you often see that it begins to move sideways. So we're looking right now pretty much for 20 years of the S&P 500. Now, here's what I want you to see. So this is the 100% line, that dotted line. You can see over the course of time that whenever we have gotten this low on the S&P 500, the stochastic RSI, we have then gone all the way to the top of the range and hit the 100% mark. Okay, so we had some vacillation. We went sideways for quite a while, which is another thing I want to point out, is that when we do get to the 100% mark, sometimes we stay up there. Okay, but when we retrace and we've got a pullback and we get around this low again, right, which is right around the 10% mark, we get that low, we end up going all the way back to the top of the range and hitting that 100% mark again. Well, here's the thing, guys. In January of 2023, we made that corrective move. We got all the way down here, this low between 2022 and 2023. We hit that. And remember, these are 2-month candles. We've been slowly building momentum. Now, in this environment where momentum is being slowly built, we do have pullbacks. We've got little corrections. Here's the point I want to make to you guys today, okay? Even though we have pullbacks and little corrections, once we've made a corrective move as severe as these 3 dots that I've showed you, the markets overall continue higher until they get to that 100% mark. And you can see that we're not there yet. Matter of fact, the signal line always precedes the stochastic RSI line. That's at 60. The signal line's up at 80. They're both pointing up. And as you can see, in the last time that we went through this type of cycle move was back in 2016, and it continued higher even though we had red candles in this time frame. What's a red candle in this time frame mean? It means that the price went down for 2 months in a row. Even though we had that, it continued higher until we got to the 100% mark, and that was the turnaround moment. So what exactly am I saying? I'm saying what I've been telling you is that the overall market is going to continue to push higher, that the corrective moment that we got into in the previous month has already been processed. I told you guys that we were going to have these 4 strong green candle weeks, possibly pushing us all the way back to the top of the trend. Now, when am I going to get worried? Well, and when do I think that that stochastic 2-month RSI might hit the 100% mark? Well, I believe at the moment it's going to coincide with the 5,500 level on the S&P 500. And I do think that we're going to go back to the top of the range. Now, here's one of the things I want to warn you guys about. The markets are getting choppier, okay? We're having bigger moves. This is what happens in a distribution moment. I believe that even though the overall momentum is moving to the upside, I also think that smart money is unloading their bags in this hot environment. And the markets are going to continue hot until the Fed cuts. They're going to continue to pump and unload into this environment. And then we're going to be at all-time highs at 5,500. There's going to be all sorts of breakout stocks, and that's when a lot of the emotional money is going to feel like it's euphorically going to go higher and higher and higher. And when it's at 5,500, people are going to be calling for 5,800, which is a possibility, right? That's why they're going to be calling for it. But here's what you're going to find from me. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that stochastic RSI. And I'm going to be looking for those moments of peak momentum and reversal. I feel safe right now taking some risk positions like a buffalo. I talked to you. What's a buffalo, Josh? Bulls make money when the market goes up. Bears make money when the market goes down. But it's the buffalo who makes money when the markets are choppy. And what is the characteristic of the buffalo? He's selective. He grazes. He takes his time. He finds a nice little green patch of candles and he nibbles. And in a choppy environment, you don't want to just be buying everything. You want to be very selective and careful. I'm going to be talking about some hot plays this week that I am looking at and charting even today. I'm going to break them down throughout the course of this week, as well as share them in the Discord. If you don't know what that is, it's the Stock Squad Patreon, where myself, Keenan Grace, Stock Up with Larry Jones, and StockMo all provide hot plays, technicals. We had a meeting this last week about some changes in there, some new folders that we're really excited about bringing to you guys. It's all about bringing you more value and investing more into the community, and it's starting this week. So if you're not in the Stock Squad Patreon, there's a link in the top pinned comment for that as well. I want you guys to check it out. And of course, then we've got Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin in my very next video, but I'm going to leave you with this thought, right? There may come an opportunity to get some alts and Bitcoin even itself at a slightly lower price. And therein lies the problem, because there's a lot of people that are going to be selling right now when they need to actually be buying. Now, that's not a suggestion for what you should buy, sell, or hold. But in this environment, when we've come all the way down from 73,000, we've come all the way down to roughly 56,000, okay? We had a pretty good percentage move down. Now, this is the time to begin to turn on the confidence and begin to strategically buy in crypto as well. And there's a ton of people that just won't do it because they're going to wait, because they're afraid to buy on a discount. They'd prefer, unfortunately, a lot of retail wants to buy when it's hot and when it's high, and then they get burned. So I want to be advising you guys that this is an environment where you want to be nibbling and taking some risk position in crypto as well. And I'm going to break into those charts on my next video. I'm going to talk to you guys about what I see in the stochastic RSI over there. And one of the things that I shared with you previously is we're watching for a weekly crossover confirmation of another pump up move, which I believe would get us another 6K higher, 5 to 6K higher on Bitcoin. And I think that that's what I'm watching for this week. And it does appear that we're getting that type of a setup. So this is going to be an interesting week. We've got earnings ahead, and we've got some important data behind us with that weak jobs report. I also want to point out what that means to me. We're beginning to get some of that data that does signal that there's problems in the market, right? And we know how those problems are going to get solved. It's going to get solved by firing up the money printing machines over in Washington, and the market's going to find more strength. But in all of that, it's going to get volatile. So keep your eyes on that. I appreciate you guys joining me today, and I look forward to talking to you again in tomorrow's video. Thank you for hitting that like and hit that subscribe to get the notifications. You got to hit all notifications on that bell as well. Appreciate each and every one of you. Peace and blessings. Take care.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Fire, boy, make a big noise playing in the tree. Gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face. Big disgrace. Kick in your can all over your place. Singing way, whoa, rock you.
Good job, man.